Welcome to the Clause YouTube channel.
Together, we strive for a safer, secure, and more stable world.
Hello and welcome to Strategic Frontlines, the YouTube channel of Center for Land Warfare Studies. In short, we call ourselves as CLAWS. And today we are going to discuss a very interesting thing which has got ramifications across the country and not only for the military. Military is one of the instruments which gets affected by information war, but then it also targets our people, it targets our culture, it targets our very reason deter for existing as a nation, and so therefore it has a very huge impact on the national security and the national morale. And to discuss this, we have with us Mr. Girdhar Mamdi, who is an old friend of mine. He's a chartered accountant by profession, but his interests are totally in a different area. Very warm welcome to you, Mr. Mamdi.
Thank you so much for calling me General Dushyant Singh ji, and it's my privilege that I could count you as my friend, and that you found me fit enough to be able to speak to such elite audience in class. So I'll try my best.
Yeah, so this is a live show, so people will watch it even after the program is over. What I would like to tell our audience is that his interest lies in civilizational study. His interest lies in the cultural heritage of India. He has almost covered all the places where Mahabharat was actually connected with Mahabharat. He has traversed the entire route of Saraswati River, which is supposed to have disappeared. So physically, actually, he has gone right from the place where it goes into the gorge. It's not really a gorge, but it's a small little kind of a, you can't even call it a lake also, but next to Badrinath, and from there it again supposedly reappears all the way underground at Sangam, which is the third river as per our history, which forms the Sangam at Prayagraj. Although you do find some traces of Saraswati going through the fort which is there in Prayagraj, and there is a small little well where the water can be seen. If you put the color there, then you find that the color actually emerges in the river Ganga. So that is how a number of ways people have been trying to establish that this is a fact and not a matter of mythology. That aside, he had kept a very close eye on the information campaign against the nation, especially related to the will of the people, especially related to the social cohesion of the country. And so, therefore, to discuss all this, we have with us Mr. Girdhar Mamdi, who will cover his experiences related to how various countries who are against us, and not only countries, non-state actors also, who are against us and trying to target us so as to harm our social fabric. So, Mr. Mamdi, I'll straight away request you to start off your experiences. I would like you to focus first on the media campaigns which the enemy tries to launch very succinctly without even people getting to know that they are being targeted, and we fall prey to it even without thinking. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. See, for anything and everything, I think first we've got to go to the money trail. The moment you
Yes.
know where the money is coming from, who is funding it, you would know the answers. For instance, I think it's better that we understand this through examples. For instance, you see, let's look at Operation Sindoor itself.
Yeah.
There was a massive campaign that happened in the Western media, which spoke about Rafales being shot, that Chinese equipment is so wonderful. So much, narratives are tried to build upon it. Why? Because when we gave our press conferences, when we gave our story, one question we did not answer completely was what were our losses. The moment we kept quiet on that, they pounced upon it. Then immediately they spun this narrative that Rafales were hit, and then the Chinese equipment was damn good. This entire campaign was funded by China. Though the press was in the West, be it in the US or in Europe, but that was completely funded by China. In fact, later, after 3 months, the French intelligence had actually come out and said that the Chinese embassy was actively promoting their products and degrading Rafales. So this is a campaign they spun. Actually, if you see that the whatever operation we had, it was Chinese versus the Western technology that the narrative was going on. They never bothered about whether it was between India, Bharat, and Pakistan or not. That was not their concern at all. It was about their equipment to be sold. You see, we also were very cautious. We were measured in the way we spoke about it. For instance, you look at Rafales, their F-16. In the initial stages, we never spoke about their American losses in the whole operation because we didn't want to make our friends in the US feel bad about it. We only announced that F-16s would have been probably lost only after whatever we have problems with US. Otherwise, we were very quiet about it. In fact, initially also we spoke only about Turkish drones, and then later we started saying Chinese equipment. So because PL-15s were found, photographs were there in the public domain, so we did it. So this is a narrative where we had significant challenges because the West was completely against us. They suddenly realized that this is a country which is literally on par with us. Our integrated air command and control system was doing so amazing. They couldn't really fathom how we suddenly gained so much of capabilities. So the narrative was Pakistani narrative was completely verbatim taken and pushed in. Like how many Rafales they shot, how many our airfields were hit, how our major installations or army cantonments like Udhampur and all were hit. So they kept on pushing that narrative. In fact, initially they even carried some of these Western or rather non-Pakistani media. They even carried stories about how our women pilot was captured by Pakistan. Jazeera carried it. So, this is the kind of a campaign that went by. We could not handle every fake and false information initially. But when we started showing the images, the satellite images and evidence in front of the world, then, they had to take some literal kind of beating. And then after some time, they recouped and then they again started spinning the narratives. So it was a wonderful campaign that we did, which, they couldn't hide themselves in. Because satellite image is available everywhere. And Pakistan, whatever they said, they hit us. They couldn't show a single photograph or single evidence at all. So the Western media got discredited on that. And again, you see, the headlines would speak something, and if you go into the narrative, it will speak something else. Headline would say Pakistan has hit something, and in the narrative they say may have hit. The Pakistan claims that they may have hit. So look at the problem they do. Grabs your attention. Yes, Pakistan has hit. That's enough. When actually you go and see the 20th paragraph, they would say may have hit. We don't know. So it's an absolute fake narrative there, man. And then Lockheed Martin was involved in F-16. So we did not want to embarrass the US. We kept quiet because, as I said initially, it's all about money. Wherever the money trail you go, and then you'll figure out what's happening there. So I think some assessment we have is that when America started taking a hit, their assets started taking a hit in Pakistan. That's when they woke up and they went into a panic mode. So they wanted to minimize the losses and they didn't want things to show up. So, I mean, we obliged. We didn't speak about it. We only spoke about it 2 months down the road. So the information campaign happened in a multiple domains. One is, of course, these Western press, what they did. Second is they unleashed so many bots. So much narrative was pumped into the system. And we have a battery of YouTubers from Pakistan who constantly keep on praising us. Bharat ye kar raha hai, wo kar raha hai, Hindustan ye hai, wo hai, Pakistan mein itna problems hai. Though because when a Pakistani is talking so nicely about us, we get addicted. Most of the audience is from our country only. Then suddenly you see when operation was going on, their true colors came out. All these YouTubers started pumping in a lot of fake narratives. So once that narrative started picking up, that was caught by even our own people. We didn't know what to do, which one to accept, which one to reject. So our losses were something which went viral even in our country also. So the point is that this was actually done to bots through a dedicated team which the Pakistan ISPR had run it. And so they ran an absolute fake narrative. Sir, you would know it on 14th of August, which they claim as their independence. Actually, it is 15th August for both of us because transfer of power happened only in the middle of the night. So anyway, on that day, they gave away almost 100 awards to a lot of people. Significant amount of them, 30, 40 of them were journalists. Why giving the journalists? Or what has journalists got to do? People like Kamar Chima, Hamid Mir, so many people were given awards. And supposed to be a very senior journalist like Najam Sethi, he started spinning this narrative of false flag operation. So his narrative was, we've done the operation ourselves, we killed our own people so that we wanted to go and punish Pakistan. So these kinds of narratives were spun so badly, and unfortunately, such people had even platforms in our country also. I don't want to name the news outlet which gave him platform. We all know what it is. So this kind of a narrative was pushed even by people within our own system as well. Every day you would have seen there's questioning certain things for which it is not needed. You need to trust your forces. And our forces, they did not want to give any false information, and they were very measured, and it was like absolutely like very professional information that we gave. If we had any doubt on that, we kept back, and where we knew the sensitivities of the matter, we did not reveal it. I think when our DGAO, Bharti ji, he spoke about it, that all our pilots are safe. I think that should have sent a message. All our pilots are safe. So where is the eject? If somebody has ejected, there is a debris. I mean, satellites could have quickly caught it. So whatever has happened, it took a while before these things were said. So we first need to trust our own forces, our own professionals, because they do not cross the red line. For us, trust is the most important. For Pakistan, it is all about narrative. I'm sure, I mean, you're the best judge, you know it. From 47 till this Operation Sindoor, every war Pakistan says they won it. So they have a narrative that they build it. And that has a resonance in the entire Western world, because Pakistan is a darling for them. They somehow don't want the civilization of our country to survive, because this is the last standing civilization for them. So for them, that is the issue. And till about 25, 30 years back, the 5, 6 of the top richest countries were all part of the American ecosystem. Suddenly, China comes in. China is again their own plant. They created China. Now, suddenly, out of nowhere, we are into the game. Now, we are the 4th largest. So, if they do not control us now, when will they control us? We'll be out of their control. So, they're unleashing all these things, be it social media, be it print media, in even the television debates. Suddenly, the narrative shifts to the war is fought between Russia and Ukraine. The war was initiated by the NATO and USA, but now it says Modi's war. See, look how they shift the whole story. So these terminologies make a hell lot of a difference, especially in zone where we have challenges like in Kashmir. They never use the term terrorist. They will say armed resistance or intrusion. At best, they will say militant, right? And these terms make a lot of sense. And they say Indian armed forces. Actually, the anti-terrorism operation is actually initiated, conducted by Jammu Kashmir Police. Jammu Kashmir Police takes charge of all the operations. Since they don't have the technology, they don't have the heft, they go to CRPF or Rashtriya Rifles or, if required, Army. So they, as a second layer, they come in. The first operations is done by Jammu Kashmir Police. But you see, the narrative says Indian forces. So, all these narratives are in the terminologies they use. So that's the way it is. I think
So, you have raised two, three very interesting points. The first thing is there seems to be a departure in the way Pakistan has now used information campaign, in the sense that earlier, even during Kargil, even during Balakot, even during Uri, Pakistanis never admitted to their losses. They did a similar thing in the case of Op Sindoor, but surprisingly, on the 14th of August, when they started honoring wing commanders, group captains, I think their entire strategy now seems to be to convince their own people that we actually are honoring guys who actually hurt the Indian armed forces effectively. So somewhere they have changed their strategy of accepting certain amount of truth to make believe their public that yes, we fought the war and we won it. So this could be one explanation for why, for the first time, for Op Sindoor, I mean, in their case, they had named it as some. I've forgotten the name now. It was some strong wall, which cannot be penetrated. So that is the translation of the Urdu phrase which they had used. Now it means that they were finding it weak to convince their internal public, so they went overt as far as their casualties and other aspects are concerned, honored their army, sorry, air force, army officers, and they honored for the first time their journalists, which is a very, very rare phenomena. No other country I have seen actually honors their journalists. If somebody does fall casualty, etc., they are given necessary remunerations, or their families are supported, etc., etc. But here they were being awarded. Nazam Sethi, or for that matter the other journalist which you were talking
Ma.
about, Kamar Chima, etc., who talk all I mean, Nazam Sethi is supposed to be, they used very cleverly a journalist who was acceptable or considered a rational voice by India as well. They used him to convey this narrative of false flag. Do
Correct.
you think now that we will see more of such people now being engaged, who have a relatively better, I would say, acceptability in India, and they are Pakistani in origin? They could be inside Pakistan, they could be outside Pakistan. There are a number of people of Pakistani origin, or they are still Pakistanis, who are in US, who are in Canada, who are in UK, who may now be used as a tool to now false flag operations, spread half truths, and convince the people of India that it is the government which is at fault, the Indian government which is at fault, and therefore uh, create internal unrest and destroy the social fabric, which will ultimately affect the soldiers' morale. So, if this is the new narrative, do you think that, my next question is, and we also found that the international narrative of ours was slightly, I won't say it was at par with the internal narrative, which was quite fairly good, as you said yourself. So externally, whether it was in the US or in the UK or any other major countries, I think our international narrative was not very aggressive, and this some people say is directly linked to the number of lobbies which we have in these countries. As per some figures, we spent almost, I think, just about $20 million and on an average on lobbies, and the Chinese spend about 600 odd million. That's a huge amount if you compare it. The figures may be a little up and down, but the ratio of difference, a stronger economy spending less on the lobbying, indirectly getting hurt, it's people getting misinformed, it's people getting kind of led astray as to what is the reality of the operation. is there a need for us to invest in this external lobby as far as part of our disinformation, as part of our information operation?
Definitely, sir. We have a massive scope. We have just started. You compare what we did during Balakot versus what we have done during Operation Sindoor. We have come a long way. During
Yes.
Balakot, we just refused to, do share anything, and that's it. Even now, when Bharati ji said, we just did our job. We never counted our body bags. I mean, what body bags they had. That's been our approach. He spoke like a true soldier, right? That's how he is supposed to do it. But then the establishment should have, whether that can be debated, whether it has to be an army or forces related team, or probably some mix between civilians and forces, where we need to decide how do we communicate. Because again, during that time, it's a big challenge. How do you communicate? Because information is always flying back and forth, where narratives are getting built. So how do you demolish it? How do you handle it is a big challenge. I think the operation you spoke about are Markai Hik, and you have Bunyan al Marsus. These are the
Bunyan
terms they
al
gave.
Marsus. Yeah, Bunyan al Marsus. Correct. No,
Bunyan al Marsus.
yeah. So, Mr. Girdhar, my next question is, can you highlight to our audience how internal media is being used without people getting to know, to change the mind of our own public? How subtly
So,
these things are being used? You could quote some examples which you had showed to me during your presentation 6 7 months back. So that is how the people are getting affected, and they don't even come to know that their minds, or they are being subjected to perception war or a cognitive dissonance.
absolutely, sir. Absolutely. See, all they need to do is plant a doubt in your mind. The rest,
Yes.
they have achieved their target. You see, for instance, you look at the way Hindu ran. I'm just going to not necessarily Operation Sindoor, but let's
Yeah,
generally
yeah.
look at how,
This
right?
is not about Op Sindoor. This is not about Op Sindoor. This is about information war in general. So we
Correct,
will
correct.
quote from anywhere and any place, anytime. Yeah.
True, true. So there was this article from the newspaper Hindu when
Mm-hmm.
Shri Manohar Parikar ji was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
There was this issue of there was some resistance or some objections from the Indian Air Force with regard to Rafales. The deal had
Mm-hmm.
some challenges because it was taking too long, and the PMO had got involved, and Manohar Parikar ji got involved, and they tried to push it because we were already running short of our squadrons.
Yeah.
So they ran the story that this deal was done much against the will of the Indian Air Force. So the
Okay.
entire notings on that showed that there were some objections raised by them. They conveniently chopped off the notings by our defense minister, Raksha Mantri, Manohar Parikarji. That was chopped off, and the rest was presented. So what happens is, actually, when the reality came out, it was that he very clearly said, he asked the people who had doubts to sit with the negotiating team, come to an understanding, and close the show. So from a government's point of view, they never pushed anything. They were facilitating a faster, speedier way of doing it, because government to government deals are much better to easily handled. Unlike going through a very circuitous route, it takes a lot of time. So
Correct.
that was conveniently chopped off, and then a narrative was spun that this is what has happened. So the similar things happened, with regard to COVID. They did that. You see, COVID also they spun a whole different narratives. Now look at China. China ran campaign during Doklam. They said, Sikkim ko liberate karna hai. Sikkim should be liberated. Then when COVID was happening, they completely, all our newspapers were showing dead bodies, fires burning. They used all these, our news outlets to run their narrative. And then Wuhan virus issue, they said Wuhan has nothing to do with it. So all that, they know how to buy it. Last question that you asked, they buy influence. They spend huge amount of money by influence. Where it matters, they buy. So they have enough plants in our country. There is enough, media outlets here who buy into their narrative because they're paid in such a way that they do it. Now you see, look at the war in Gaza. Look at the war,
Mhm.
the way Israel is handling it. Uh, Israel is also losing the narrative.
Yes.
Recently, there was this story that came out that there are starvation deaths there. All they showed was one boy who had a special, problem, medical issues, and they said there are starvation deaths. Whereas the story was different. United Nations own report says their stocks were just lying idle there because they did not have a proper distribution network. So these kinds of stuff go very fast. The Russian version is never heard outside. It is always the NATO and the Western version that goes, but Russian version is never heard in the Western space. They've in fact banned a lot of Russian media and outlets in USA. Even Russia Today (RT) is considered to be a foreign, government agency. So it's that kind of a narrative they do. Latest, we are seeing what's happening. The moment Navarro says Brahmins are, making money out of oil, and at the cost of Indians, he says. And so there
And
is an echo.
very interesting thing about the Brahmins, since you mentioned it, uh, he was targeting the oil refineries, and oil refineries are not owned by the Brahmins; they are owned by the trader community, Ambani, etc. They are all traders, so they are not Brahmins at all. So it means that their narrative is getting busted right in the beginning, but we are not carrying this forward, bursting of their narratives, fact check of their narratives. E- During Op Sindoor we did it, but after that we just take it as though nothing has happened. It is left to YouTube programs or some TV channel which will try to discuss and underplay the Navarro's statement. But I think there is a need for a more cogent and a coherent strategy as far as information war is concerned, because these are making a dent in our response strategy against
Yeah,
information.
absolutely. We tend to believe them. The problem is large sections of the society tends to believe it. And there are forces in our country which will use that to spin their narratives. You see, when Donald Trump said India is a dead economy, there were some politicians who said, yes, he's right. Similarly, now when he's talking about Brahmins, there are two problems here. One, he never used the term Boston Brahmins. But you see a whole ecosystem which has spoken up and said he's not referring to Brahmin community, he's talking about Boston Brahmins. And you see
Oh,
every handle uses the same term. The words are also same. It's an echo chamber, you see. They hunt like hounds, a pack of hounds. That is a problem. And so what happens is, whatever you're doing is an afterthought. You're trying to clean up whatever problem they created, and your responses are going to be secondary to it. Yes, there are responses, there are fact checkings which are going on, but still, what happens is this turns into action on the ground. Immediately, what happens is we have this fault lines. In fact, that statement, General Saab, if you recall it, it said Brahmins are profiteering at the cost of Indians, he said. He never said other
yes,
Indians. It implies that Brahmins are not Indians. If you see that
yes.
statement, it implies that
I
Brahmins
think
are not
that's
Indians.
That's a very interesting observation which you have given. Brahmins are profiteering at the cost of Indians and not. So that means Brahmins are a class apart. And then when they found that the Brahmins by implication would mean a particular caste, they again rejigged the entire narrative to say Brahmins, Boston Brahmins, or Brahmins which are into trade, etc., those kind of things.
Yeah.
So I feel that there is some kind of a coherent strategy which is there on the other side, and India remains reactive. I mean, that's the way I look at it. Our last question before I will show a summary of what we should actually do as far as information war is concerned, and this is for the audience. You can note it down. There's a slide on which I have prepared, and then we will ask your comments on each of those points so that we can elaborate upon it. So my last question is, I want you to explain to the public or to the audience of ours the the ad example, how ads meant for something else are being used for something else. That means a simple looking ad, which may be probably that of a coffee, is actually trading, or it is trying to create a narrative which is totally not linked to coffee. So could you explain that that part of a campaign which is being launched by the Western and the other media against us, or the agencies which are against us as far as information is concerned, whether it is China, Pakistan, US, whosoever it is? Yeah.
Sir, I had said very clearly that there is a attack, there is a war against our civilization. So the
Yes.
target is to see that your culture, your civilizational, whatever your moorings are there, they are targeted, they are attacked. So what happens is, you see, go and see any serial, from Hindi serials to Telugu serials to any serial you see, the target is your mother-in-law is always a villain, your sister-in-law is a
No.
villain. So the target is to break your joint family. They more or less largely achieve. Today you hardly find a joint family anywhere in the country. Maybe you see it in few rural areas, but otherwise in all urban areas you hardly find them. Second, they targeted the basic unit of a family, husband, wife, and children, where through the concepts of women's liberation, through the concepts of male patriarchy kind of a stuff, they've broken that. I'll give you a couple of examples. One example, you see, WhatsApp advertisement. WhatsApp wanted to advertise for privacy. They said if you're chatting with somebody, there will be privacy in your chats. You can lock it up, nobody could see that. Now, what is the
Okay.
theme they did? One girl, a small child's photograph is shown of the elder sister. So the mother says, the second daughter, she says, when are you going to give me good news from your side? So there's a chat between the elder sister and the younger sister. There, she says, I don't want a child, and I've decided I don't want a child. So that's my right. So the elder sister says, yes, that is your right. You don't need to have a child. Mother comes and asks for the photograph of the child of the first daughter. Then she immediately locks it up so that the mother can't read the chat. So you are trying to convey privacy and your encryption, but the message you are giving is woman's right, my body, my right. Now, what has happened to the husband? If he wants a child, he can't produce a child himself. Is it the choice of just the woman, or is it a collective decision? See, that's how they're pumping in. How do you break down families? How do you reduce your entire population of this country? Second example I will give you, a very similar example, which is, there is this black and white. There's a product, which is, some drink they show it. This ad was shown in all the, spaces between the overs during the Women's World Cup, which happened about 3-4 months back. The theme there again is, it's a long, advertisement, but I just call about the last one. There again, one girl asks, what do you call a woman, a wife who does not want children? So everybody goes silent, and one gentleman says, we call them their choice. Again, the same thing. They're trying to pump in that you don't, it's your woman's body is your choice. So they're actually creating rift among people. As I said, the young child who's 10, 11, 12-year-old girl, she doesn't know who her mother-in-law is, who her father-in-law is. She's already been planted in her brain that she will not stay with her mother-in-law. She will not stay with her sister-in-law. Similarly, they've already been planted, I don't want a child. I will see if I want a child, I don't need a child. So these kinds of messaging have been going subtly there. One more dangerous thing is one ad of one beauty cream, Femme. There it says, the theme is of your Kadwa Chauth. Kadwa Chauth, we all know, women fast during the day, and in the evening they dress up one beautifully, and they use that jali to see the moon,
Husband.
and then they
And the
their husband, and
Correct.
then take his blessings, and then they break their fast. That's the story. But in this, two women are there. They're getting ready. They're being makeup is being done with that fame cream. Then the beautician asks the first one, why are you doing Kadwa Chauth? He says, for the happiness of the other one. Then the second woman, she says, I'm doing for the Lambi Umar of the other one. And then in the evening, both of them are well decked up. They look at the moon and they look at each other. And they say, you come and touch my feet. That means you are using a traditional festival, civilizational festival to pump in your
Culture.
idea of LGBTQ, lesbian relationship.
Correct.
So like that, there are multiple examples. Then you spoke about coffee. That is Starbucks. They are selling a pretty cup of a coffee, right? But the theme is, it's about a gender change operation. The father calls up his son, whose name is Arpit. He doesn't come, but a girl comes up. Then we need to understand that the boy has undergone a surgery and has become a girl. So father is not happy. Finally, he reconciles. He goes orders for 3 cups of coffee, and the bartender says 3 cups of coffee for Arpita. So Arpit becomes Arpita. So adding one alphabet doesn't change. So this is very normal. They're normalizing these kinds of behaviors which are not considered normal in the society. We have nothing against that LGBTQ community, but I'm saying
Correct.
the large section, 99% of the section of this country has a certain way of living. You need to respect that. It's not respect for it. You are again pushing your agenda of friction, of things which are not correct, not generally accepted in the society. You are pushing for that. See that backlash is happening in US. Here, for instance, we have not even bothered about it. Singhji, you would be surprised. In cricket, it has come up. You see, earlier in the younger days, I mean, at least 83, 84, when we were watching the World Cup and all these matches, you had a concept of man of the match award. Now that has been replaced by player of the match award. Why not man? They have changed it. So even we have succumbed to it. We don't even know. We have not even observed. Mohammad Siraj was the player of the match, of the last test match. He's not a man of the match. So this kind of stuff is being steadily pumped into our system. We can quote so many of these examples. So this is the way subtly, even for children, cartoons, small kids, mothers don't have time to really give a lot of time to the children. They give them a tablet or something like that, and they keep watching the cartoons. Let them go and watch the cartoon. In the cartoon, also they're pumping this kind of a story. I saw a cartoon in Hindi where it shows there's a cow which gives birth to a male cow. The mother cow addresses his son or as a male gender, and the child says, "How did you decide that I'm a male? I will decide that I'm a male or a female after I grow up. You have insulted me," it says. And the mother apologizes to the child. So these kinds of subtle way of breaking up our society. Let me again tell you that first they broke up the joint family. Second, they went against basic family structure. Now there is nothing left for them. They are going after the individual. The individual's gender identity, they are hating you. So the idea is that every human being should experience both the sexes, and they can decide what they want. Today I can be a man, tomorrow I can be a woman. Sari is for everybody. There is advertisement, men with beard wearing a sari and going. This kind of advertisements has come to our country. It's not that somewhere it's happening in USA. Sorry, it's come here. So what happens is these kinds of advertisements slowly push the society into normalizing these things. We are never against anybody. In fact, we are the most inclusive civilization on the face of earth. The Western civilization doesn't accept it. But
Absolutely. So,
yeah,
no, what I'm saying, absolutely, this is breaking the social cohesion of the people. And mind you, our forces, our jawans, our airmen, our army jawans, sepoys, etc. They all come from this fabric. Now,
correct.
if they come with these kind of influences in the future, I'm looking at it from a long-term perspective. What would be the impact on the battlefield? Right.
Absolutely.
So,
I'll give you one
so
example. Let me give you one example for the armed forces.
yeah.
When we were on a standoff with China in Ladakh, they aggressively pumped into the social media videos of drones coming and delivering hot noodles and hot food to the PLA soldiers on the border. In contrast, they showed that we are having old, stale, and cold bread our soldiers are eating. Just imagine if that goes to the soldiers. What kind of a narrative it goes in? The kind of resistance, the kind of sadness, the kind of being ill-treated is something which they can pump in. So it is so dangerous actually. These narratives, before you realize, they would have gone beyond your control. So it
Yeah,
is
I mean,
today we are We are fighting a,
Absolutely.
we
You're
are fighting a war. Sorry, we are fighting a war with just not bullets, but with mind space. That is where we need to do a lot.
with
Sorry.
we are fighting the war not only with sword but pen also. So that is the broad message. And let me just tell our audience that what is happening today is that the ultimate aim is to affect the fighting capability of our soldiers, our women soldiers, everybody, because it's not only men who are being targeted, the women are also being targeted. You will find that this example of the kind of food which the Chinese soldier is being given, and in contrast, what the army, the armed forces soldiers are being given, these are all fake. We get the best of, let me tell you, we get the best of food, probably the best food available in the country, in Siachen, in high altitude areas. I mean, actually speaking, if a one man consumes his quota of food, he will go so fat that he will not be able to burn the calories. That is the quantum of fruit. They get chocolate, they get eggs, they get meat, you name it, whatever they want, they get it. And we give it irrespective of whether a person is, if somebody is a Muslim soldier, he's given a halal meat. We don't make any difference. uh, we respect the sensitivities of everyone in the armed forces. The armed forces are an institution which is above any kind of criticism, but yet they are trying to break all these things through the fake narrative. So by and large, the audience is aware of the silent information campaign which is going on. My aim of conduct, we have had a number of discussions on information war, but this one was a silent information war which is going on without you and me not even getting to know about it. So I have listed out 11 points as a strategy to deal with our information war. Whether the government or the powers that be will take it or not, that is a different story. But I can assure you that we will be sharing whatever we have discussed at the right forums, etc., so that we can tweak our counter strategies. First thing, my first observation is, and I will again see quick one line comments from Mr. Mandi. In my opinion, by and large, we are still reactive as far as information war is concerned. Uh, in my opinion, we have to switch over to offensive, and in the on the basis that in the land of Romans, be like Romans. If everybody is trying to hit you, why should you be then a passive receiver of such negative campaigns? So, a quick view on this.
Correct, sir. You're absolutely right. The only thing is, China already has a system which they call as integrated network warfare, where the
Hmm.
punchline for them is active offense. They call it
Okay.
active
Oh,
offense. So
yeah, that's
we have by nature we are very defensive. What you said is right. Probably we need to even, I don't know. Let me be a little arrogant here, or I'm jumping the gun. Probably we need to change the name of our ministry from Ministry of Defense to Ministry of National Security. It makes a hell lot of a difference. A
no,
defensive
no,
approach.
no, I think there is some merit in it. You see, what the US see, this is where we call people are proactive. Whether it is wrong or right, that only time will tell. The US has changed the name of Department of Defense to Department of War.
Correct.
There is a different connotation. Defense and war. See, defense is defensive, passive.
Yeah.
War is offensive.
Yeah.
This is news which all our readers must, all our audience must note, that the US has changed the name of Department of Defense to Department of War.
Yeah.
Now we will
So
we
we
will
should at
quickly
least
follow you.
consider national security. We should at least
Yes,
consider Department of National Security.
absolutely. Why? Because national security, we are saying on one hand that information domain is an area where whole of nation approach is required, and not only the army, or not only the Air Force or the Navy. So, if that be the case, then national security becomes a larger framework under which we can cover our. So that's a very good suggestion, and I made a note of it. Now, in taking a cue from this, so what should we do? So, in my view, first thing is we have to develop a national information warfare strategy. I think we
Absolutely.
need to develop this thing. Otherwise, everybody is fighting a war, but in a very ad hoc manner, in a disjointed manner. There are some people who are undertaking operation. Ministry of Information and Broadcasting is supposed to do it, but till the time the name is Information and Broadcasting, it will remain a Ministry of Information and Broadcasting only. Somewhere that sense of purpose has to go in, where it starts looking at these issues as information operations and not leave it only to the military or the armed forces. So I'm sure
Absolutely,
it is
sir.
a take. It is take from
Yeah.
what point you gave, that Ministry of National Security would be a better. I think our frequencies matched here when we spoke about it. Yeah. The
Absolutely.
second thing.
The national war strategy. Look at how
Mhm.
USA deals with it.
Yeah.
US doesn't directly come and do a lot of stuff. They decide on something, a whole ecosystem works on it. Not
Yeah.
now, but it was happening for a long time. Somebody
Yeah.
decided to go beat Saddam Hussein. So immediately the entire ecosystem started talking about weapons of mass destruction, weapons of mass destruction. So we need to have that kind of an ecosystem developed. Sometimes government can wash its hands off where it is required. But what you said is absolutely bang on. We need to have a strategy. What of the information which the government gives out? What are the information that you have people in the media who give it out? And in what form should be given? Where should you plant doubts? I think we need to have a perfect strategy. We need to seriously work on it. I fully agree with you, sir.
Yeah. So similarly, hiring of lobbyists in the other country. I think lobbying is a very important part of diplomacy. So why
Yeah.
should we be shy of it? Why should we be less involved in this kind of a thing? I think we need to we need to spend more money, like you said right in the beginning. Information war can be traced from the place where the money is pouring in. So
Absolutely.
similar thing we need to do: strengthen cyber security infrastructure. You see, unless we make our networks robust, we will be affected during war fighting also. So therefore, this is again, information will not be available. So your people may not be able to function, operate in the right manner, and this is applicable both for military as well as the civilian leadership. Then build a robust counter disinformation unit. This you can throw some light or give some idea. How can we build a robust counter disinformation unit? Something which is working under the overall national information warfare strategy.
Yeah.
Currently, there is.
Actually, let me also speak a little bit about cybersecurity. Sir, you
Yeah.
see, when any VIPs come to defense establishment, defense
Hmm.
installations, they go
Hmm.
to an area where you're launching something, ship launch or whatever, could be any
Hmm.
area. You see,
Yeah.
the political leadership comes with a lot of people behind them. They come with their
Hmm.
cell phones. Today, cell phones are completely open, naked. I mean, people are watching you. Whatever is communications happening, somebody is listening to you. We need to have an extremely strict protocol that our defense establishments need to be well protected by these snoopers. So whoever be the politician, they should all be banned. We need to have such very strict protocols. We have this, unfortunately, in our country, we have VIP culture. When VIPs are coming, they get a free pass. I think what you said is right. Our cyber security infrastructure has to be so tight. Look at how Vladimir Putin, what did he do? He's sitting in China, but he spoke to Modi ji for 45 minutes in his car. He didn't
Yeah.
even
I mean,
come out anywhere, right?
absolutely. That was a tremendous example of beating even the Chinese system of eavesdropping, right?
Absolutely. We need to.
And why they sat in Putin's car was because Putin got his car from Russia, so it in no way could have been
Correct.
bugged by the Chinese. So in
Absolutely.
international relations, I think there are no permanent friends, there are no permanent enemies. You have to move ahead with caution. फूक फूक कर kadam rakhna. That's the approach we should have. The next issue
Right.
which I wanted to discuss with you was enhance public awareness campaigns. I think this is one thing which I feel is currently lacking. Where all you can, we are doing a good job about personal getting trapped, economic scams, etc. But where we are probably directly indirectly contributing to funding terrorism or working against the national security, those aspects also must now keep coming out regularly through programs like this, so that we are able to educate our public that do not become party to anything anti-national.
Absolutely, sir. You see, this is where probably even the forces will have to be a little more open, actually, because you see
Yeah,
in the USA, most of their Hollywood movies, if they want to shoot, they can go into the defense establishment. They can use some of their assets, their ships, their aircraft carriers, or their fighter jets, and there's a huge amount of public awareness campaign they do through entertainment and other things. Whereas
yeah,
for us, it's just off limits. So probably that kind of a synergy we bring in, people will at least be aware the what is the capabilities of our forces, what is it that we are doing. And when I personally visited the heights in the Himalayas, and I see in places like Srinagar where there are contested areas, they are in full gear with all bulletproof vests and things like that. They are not even allowed to go for a toilet break because we don't know when from who's going to come and shoot. This the general public is not even aware of it. Sensitizing the public is very, very crucial. So for
okay,
me, the best thing is if that war memorial in Badami Bagh cantonment is allowed to be visited by civilians. I think it makes a huge amount of difference. There, in public awareness, in fact, I keep repeating in all my presentations. Modi ji inaugurated that. There are black granite stones on which every single soldiers who gave a balidan, their all names are written in golden words there, right from 1947 till now. But the most moving part I felt was there are 4 or 5 blank black granite stones left there. For any future casualties, we have left a
yeah,
space. The messaging is
absolutely,
that we are willing to lose more boys, but we will not let go Kashmir. So
yeah,
that is such a powerful message. If it is confined in a cantonment with such an amount of security, how does it serve the purpose? So that is
yeah,
my request to the forces. You should allow
yeah.
the
So
people to come in.
yeah, so
Public awareness.
certainly, yeah, yeah, certain areas should be available as an access to the public also, and I fully agree with that point of yours. Next issue is leveraging soft power diplomacy. I think it is self-explanatory. We will not spend much time on it, but I would like your views on regulate the social media platform. Now, there is always a debate: should we regulate? Should we not regulate? Should we ban a user? Should we not ban a user? Ethics, freedom of speech, etc. comes in. But in my view, if there is national security getting affected, please go ahead, regulate it, ban it for a while. When the operations are over or when events are over, you can again reopen it. Your views on this?
Definitely, sir. We have done that during Ops Indore. We have switched off so many of the handles of Pakistan. We have switched it
Yeah,
off,
yeah.
and
So,
some of them are not even switched on
absolutely,
yet. But then,
absolutely. So that,
point is, we need to regulate the regulators. These are all
mm,
self-regulated. The policy we
absolutely,
need to decide. Once we fix on the policy, and if they cross the line, then there have to be severe repercussions to it. Unfortunately, today it's
absolutely.
not there. For instance,
Yeah,
Six for Justice has been funding a lot of ad campaigns in Twitter. So we should have come down very heavily on them. We've been soft on
yeah,
many of these fronts. I fully agree with
yeah,
you, sir. We need to have this on to regulate this platform. We need to have a legal framework and an administrative framework. Both things are
yeah,
necessary. We don't need
yeah.
to police every single tweet, but we need to come up with a standard of policy
Algorithm.
which has.
We can have an algorithm prepared, and those who fit into that algorithm get automatically
Correct,
stop,
correct,
like what the Twitter and YouTube do. uh,
correct.
to Twitter and YouTube on their own, they do it, people don't mind it. But the government does it, people mind it. I don't know for what
Yeah,
reason. I just do not understand the logic of the public must support such actions which is in favor of national security. Please do not equate everything with politics. Politics has its own dimensions, has its own dynamics. We are not concerned with that. But if it starts affecting our national security, we need to also convey it firmly that please do not indulge in national security matters through politics. That is the point which I wanted to invest in offensive cyber capability. I think we have spoken enough of it. I think there is a need for us to, you लोहे को लोहा काटता है. ये बहुत
absolutely.
पुरानी ये बहुत पुरानी कहावत है. So I think we need to now do it. I suppose the government may be doing it also. I'm not very sure. That may be
I don't think.
it's a
No, I
it's a
don't think
privilege.
so.
It is
Yeah,
a
we are
privileged
responsive.
institution.
We are always responsive. We are always
Yeah.
responsive. We are not proactive.
So
We are not
so
putting it
if
out
we
beforehand
absolutely,
itself.
absolutely.
We are not
If we
naming and
get
shaming people.
absolutely, if we get technical input that something notorious is going to be planned by our adversary, we should nip it in the bud during the technical domain only, so that it doesn't manifest physically on our territory. And the next issue was about counter legal warfare. I think this is very important. Our adversary is using it extensively. Some whether it is 1890 treaty or whether it is maritime domain, where it is using the 9 dash line, 11 dash line, having a different interpretation of freedom of movement of the high seas. So people are very actively getting into this legal warfare. We also need to start digging, start doing research, and giving proof that area A has always been traditionally with us and not with somebody else. And
I
there are
think we
proof.
have started.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, I think we started on this because
Yeah, yeah.
suspending Indus Water Treaty, and even when
Hmm.
they gave a judgment adversarial to us, we said, "Bugger
Hmm.
off, we don't have any jurisdiction on it." I think we started.
Hmm.
We started asserting our rights. But yes, I
Absolutely,
agree with you.
absolutely.
There's a lot more to achieve in this. In fact, one
Yeah. So,
request I have here, when I
uh-huh.
visit these border areas, be it with Tibet or be it with POJK, uh,
Hmm.
our soldiers need to be sensitized and briefed a bit. So,
I think that's a
because
very
my,
important point.
my
That's a very
experience has
important point.
been, yeah, my
Hmm.
experience has been, let's say we
They're
go
not aware.
to we go to Bumla.
Hmm.
Now, our
Hmm.
soldiers who are actually briefing the visitors, they're saying, यहाँ तक भारत है, वहां से China है,
Ah, that's it. That's it. That's it.
right?
So
Whereas
they,
we are saying it is ITBP,
yeah,
Indo-Tibetan Border Police. We never say Indo-China
yes,
Border Police. Right?
absolutely,
Narratives make a
absolutely.
lot. Similarly, if you go to Thang, Pakistan, Turtuk area, and then they say यहाँ से पाकिस्तान यहाँ तक भारत. That is not
Yeah,
Pakistan. That is our territory which is under their control. So
absolutely.
these matters. Again, POK versus POJK. They actually have Western Jammu and Gilgit Pakistan. They don't have Kashmir with them. So these
Yeah.
terminologies, I think we need to sensitize your boys on the borders so that proper messaging goes. That's my humble request, sir.
There are few more points. I'll just mention them, and I think they are very important. Firstly, is that we must promote indigenous media outlets now, right? Hello,
Yeah, yeah.
we must promote indigenous media outlets. We are depending too much on this what do you call the international media. They influence our mind, they influence our public, and our public then speaks the same thing in Hindi, and then ultimately it influences our soldiers on the borders, whether it is Al Jazeera, BBC, or CNN, you name it. So I think our indigenous media outlet uh, have to be encouraged to become world class, and their narrative should start going out, our narrative should start going out. People should react to our narrative rather than to their narrative. Similarly, we need to foster now regional alliances, and SCO, I suppose, has been a good beginning in this particular aspect. So with that, if you have any last minute concluding comments, you can go ahead. Otherwise, we will switch to the questions now.
Sure, sir. My only humble request is to be very vigilant because the adversary is coming up with newer methods of targeting us, and they're very subtle. Before you and I realize it, they would have probably grabbed your mind space. So I think for us to be that vigilant, we need to have a very dedicated team who understands their game plan and then counter it in the initial stages itself. Once it percolates down, it's so difficult for us to unwind. To learn is easy, to unlearn is
Yeah,
very, very difficult. So that is where I think
absolutely.
our focus and thrust has to be. And I hope you would be able to. Klaus should be able to put up a very professional document on this, so that the government could fall back on something to work on.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we are taking views of people and looking at some military subjects which will have impact on our war fighting capabilities. We are looking at various inputs. You are also part of that series of our discussion. Some questions, there is a question from Thadani. He says narratives have a role to play in information warfare. To call Bharat as India is like calling Bageshwar as bags. It puts both the nations or place on the defensive. Have we considered this? Your quick comment on this.
Sir, it took me 2.5 years to flush out the word India and bring in Bharat in my narrative, sir. It took me 2.5 years. I'm just telling you, it's easy to learn. It goes so deep into our system. Now, all
Yeah.
my debates, wherever I go, I use the term Bharat. It is tough, but India has been natural for us. I'm not saying it is wrong, but we need to make a conscious effort to really try and do that. I think it's in our hands. We should be able to do it. I succeeded in 2.5 years. Sure, others can.
Yeah. Yeah, there are group of people who say what is the harm in India. It's not about usage of the term. It's about recognizing who we are in the true sense. And so therefore, while there is nothing wrong with India, but the history of India is just about 200 years old. But the history of Bharat is 5,000 year old. Please
Yeah.
please take that into account. So which is better for us to actually convey our entity, our civilization? I think Bharat. So therefore, why should we feel ashamed about it? If Girdhar, if Girdhar, who is from South India, who is not very fluent in Hindi, can can accept Bharat, I'm sure everybody else can accept it. If I go to Tamil Nadu or if I go to Kerala, and I have gone many times, let me tell you, I don't feel any difference whether I am in Delhi or I am in Chennai. Just 2 3 weeks back I was in Chennai. I am again going to Chennai on the 30th. For me it's very natural. It looks like I'm just shifting from one home to the other home. I mean,
Yeah,
let's not be
absolutely.
too fussy about these things. Okay, next issue is by. I mean, I think it seems to be some character who I can't read which language it is. What if both US and China are playing India? Are we aware of this possibility, and what would be a counter to such a move? Yes,
So obviously
you
they're
first
playing,
say,
sir.
and
That's their job.
you first say, and then I'll go.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's their job, sir. What do you expect from US and China? They don't
Yeah,
want self-esteemed Bharat. So they want to control you. That's what they will do. It. You are the fourth largest economy today. You're going to be third. So if you are not under their control, then it's not acceptable to them. They will control you.
absolutely,
We need to
absolutely.
have
Please
your
listen.
identity. We need to have two
Absolutely.
things. We need to have Shatrubodh and we need to have Swabodh. We need to have both. We need to know about ourselves and we need to know about our adversary. So adversary will keep doing what he has to do. When you are confident about yourself, you know you're in well rooted in your identity and your self-esteem. I think they will be able to do much. You will be able to counter it well. So we need to
Yeah,
focus on these.
absolutely. And if you want to know what the US is doing about India, please listen to George Friedman's YouTube, which came about 2 3 days back. It's a 30-minute YouTube where he has actually highlighted how the US thinks about India. And I think we should believe. We should be like the Israelis. Israelis say, if my adversary threatens me, I believe him. I take action accordingly so that he's not able to do any harm to me. I think we need that proactiveness has to come in. Similarly, China, we have to believe while it is our we are undergoing a little bit of a thaw in the relationship, a little bit of kind of a I would say down upside. But look at the body languages when the Prime Minister met Putin and when Prime Minister met Xi Jinping. There was a there was a 2.5 feet difference between them. With Putin, it was say intimate hug into the car of Putin. With Xi Jinping, one photograph is going around where these three of them are together in one frame. But that that cautious distance was there, and I agree with it. Till the time we don't develop that trust, we should work with zero trust.
Absolutely.
What we should work with is zero trust. Zero. I will do business with you I will interact with you on boundary issue, but trust factor is zero unless you prove it on ground. That's the way
Absolutely.
any sensible nation, which is looking at now becoming the third largest power in the world, should behave. And I think India is well on its course to do that. Same person has actually given out an example. Bangladesh coup had both Chinese and the American fingerprints on it. I would say there has been an accidental convergence of the two, whether it is Pakistan or Bangladesh. Let's see how things pan out. But till the time we are conscious of the fact that these things are happening around us, and we are taking certain actions which probably we are not aware, and government may be doing it. So we should not feel unduly perturbed about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have the Amit Bera. Akash sir, with due actually this is to internal communication between the audience. With due respect, we also do a lot of propaganda during Operation Sindoor. Our media started saying we reached Islamabad, Karachi, and arrest Asim Munir. So, if some media has gone berserk, doesn't mean that our narrative was bad. You will find in that, in the enthusiasm, there are people who go beyond their knowledge, and that is why information warfare is a very nuanced subject. It requires a lot of detailed study. It is based on believability. Let me put it this way: everything is based on believability. So you put some photograph, put some images, yeah, people will start believing it. You want to add
I
anything
think
here?
the operating word here is we. Who is that
Hmm.
we?
Hmm.
It's definitely not the forces, or it's not the credible sources. Somebody
Correct.
did it. That doesn't mean we can own them up. What you said is
Yeah,
right.
there is some media house which wants to earn quick money if they have done this thing. So I mean, they need to be regulated. As such. It was one of my points that media needs to be given an overall broad guideline as to what one needs to do. Okay. I'm not going to comment on anything on the media. Media will go go after me. Okay, lot of
Well,
comments against our media.
actually, if we go by media, and the
Anji.
YouTube channels, I
Uh,
mean, Pakistan would have been broken many years back. Every
yeah.
time anything happens, they say next moment it's going to break.
Yes.
They have their own way of getting attracting traffic for their viewership. So I think
Yeah.
we need to be very, very cautious. We need to trust our forces, trust our government. The communication has to be based on credible information. Otherwise, we'll be exposed.
Yeah, this is a question by a friend of mine because I know her. She clarified in the next chat box. DGISPR uses narrative building and information warfare, and we lack this expertise. I was at the DEF A 2025 during Op Sindoor, and the narrative was at this defense show that the loss was India's. So you are fully right. There are certain shortcomings, but it's not that India is not now. India is catching up in the game. I think in times to come, and even Mr. Girdhar also said so that this time around we have done far better than what we did last time. You see, it is the way you
If
spin the narrative.
I may just add, sir, if I may just add,
Yeah,
here the point is, yes, Pakistan will have initial advantage because they can spin whatever it is. But in the long run, people who are well informed on the subject, they know. They can't fool people for beyond a certain point. So I think
yeah.
they'll have an initial advantage, but then, you know, uh, we know how
I
to handle it.
yeah. I have a tweet coming from Pakistan, and the language of the tweet clearly, and it is addressed directly to me, clearly hints that it is possibly from ISPR, one of the operatives of ISPR, in which they admit that for the first few days, they did not know what was happening as far as the media was concerned. India had the upper edge. So you must realize at the upper edge, probably somewhere down the line, we got into a little bit of a kind of a diplomatic approach where Girdharji also mentioned that since American losses were possibly involved, so we became slightly lower on the losses being declared, etc. But when we found that the opposing side is not respecting our response, so as Girdhar said that, 2.5 months 1.5 months later, we said that Pakistan lost five, and the president of US says, I don't know how far it is true, whether it is a fake video or not. He says Pakistan lost seven, and there are some estimates which say that Pakistan lost 10. And yesterday I was listening to someone. So every day somebody is increasing the figure. Let me just tell you that in any war there are losses, and Pakistan lost considerably this time, especially on the hangar strike and the big aircraft which the air chief mentioned. They're all real. Take it. Anything which the air chief says that they shot down XYZ, they shot down five aircrafts. Believe it, they have gone down the drain, and it is reflected in the honors given, awards given during 14th of August posthumously to the Air Force people.
Actually,
Yeah.
sir, the open source satellite imagery actually showed about five
Yeah.
F-16s going into that hangar, which was hit by
Hmm.
us. They're Jordanian
Okay.
F-16s. Pakistan bought a second hand from Jordanian forces, and they've never come outside. So,
Yeah, just as a matter of interest to public, those who are going to listen, because these comments do not exist when we finish the video. So I'll put it here. Operation Chaddi Banyan Mahfoos, which means that the operation was able to keep their undergarments safe. Otherwise, it is
I
Banyan
don't,
Al Mahfoos.
I don't think they were safe.
Anyway, so what I'm saying is that it's good that our public is also getting into this kind of a thing. There are a number of questions, but we will take this one as probably the last question, because we are going over time now. If anyone tries to put doubt from opposition side people, should, as Rahul Gandhi, Sachin Pilot, करे खड़गे का मुंह का उतरा हुआ था ड्यूरिंग ऑफ सिंदूर. Okay, we leave it at that. It's a political comment, Shilpa. The public is Our public is very discerning. They will see who's what and where actually the butter lies, and they will accordingly decide. We will not like to comment anything on this particular issue. Uh, so that is why I'll leave it. And there are a whole lot of questions again, but let me just close the discussion here. I think there was one
So
more interesting
I'll just add a single sentence here, sir, if you permit. I'm not
Yeah,
going to
yeah, go
name
ahead.
any politician. I'm not going to name any politician, but we need to
Mhm.
understand that our adversaries are investing in our political system, and they're
Mhm.
investing in our NGOs, they're investing in our think tanks. So we need to be cautious. There are a lot of forces in play in our country also. Like what you said, they're having a lot of resources to pump in, and they are buying their influence, they are buying their narrative. So we are no exception. They have their assets here in all spaces, be it political, legal, administration, then your think tanks and policy making institutions. They have their penetrations. We need to watch out for them.
Yeah, there is a last question. There are a number of questions, but this I will take it because he has asked something military like. So I will. The other question, audience, please do not get offended. All your questions are very important to us, but because we are already now 1 hour 13 minutes, I had planned to stop it much earlier. Ask sir. We are often quick to try and at least match the capabilities of our adversaries. Then please tell me why India has shied away from creating a beast capable of going toe to toe with ISPR. Would you like to comment on it? Because it's not fully your domain, but I can. So I'll take this on. Unless
Yeah,
you want
I'll
to say.
just give a small bit, sir. We don't
Mhm.
want to be ISPR. Let us be very
Yes.
clear.
Yeah.
ISPR is an absolute fake factory.
Correct.
Comparing ourselves to create another parallel to ISPR itself is an insult to our forces. That's how I look at it,
Yes.
sir. But yes, we need to have a robust communication policy where civilian and our forces, they need to have a common ground, and there has to be a clear way of looking at which has to be communicated, which should not be communicated, and how should it be communicated. These aspects, I think we need apex kind of a process, a system, a structure, but definitely never we do want to become ISPR. So we need to create our own credible, trustworthy way of disseminating information.
Actually, let me now just give a quick comment on this issue. This is a common grouse which public of India feels that the ISPR handles the narrative or better. First of all, let me just tell you, it's not only the ISPR. You must understand, it is ISPR fully supported by China. Now, I'll give you an example which happened during Op Sindoor only. There was a media bite or a YouTube short program which was run by Pakistan with some of their experts. By the time the program ended, they had after I think I saw the entire program after about 2 3 hours. There were about 700 800 views, which is not very earth shaking. Next day morning, I got up and I thought, let me just have a look, see, just for the sake of it. Next time, if we have some discussion like this, I will get you that entire slide which we have on that. It was touching 53 million. It is virtually not possible to touch that much, and it was not touching in the Pakistani media. It was touching from the Chinese media. So Chinese media use technology to amplify through bots, through other technological means. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a engineering. How do you call it as whiz kid? But it was 53 million. Can you believe? It's virtually not possible within one night for 53 million people to see the whole thing. That means a whole lot of world was watching it. But when somebody sees, oh, 53 million, he starts to believing it. So maybe there is the 100th guy who must have seen only, but the 100th guy sees 53 million. Bilkul sahi hai. This is the absolute correct thing, and I must believe it. The technology is used to influence your mind, influence your perception. So with that, Girdarji, thank you very much for your time, for having spared and be part of this lively debate. A lot of our people have joined, come and gone and gone and come back while we were discussing this issue. We expect future more such interactions, and you can suggest your topics. The audience can suggest some topics through emails to you all, and we will get Girdhar Hamdi ji again for anything related to culture, civilization, especially our military culture, etc., and also anything related to information warfare. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Namaskar, sir. Namaste and Jai Hind.
Namaskar.